As you can see by the title of this stream, I actually changed this slightly. In a drunken revelation, I think I figured out my issue I was having. One of the key things I was having trouble with this game in general is, like, how do I represent mutations properly? Because it's hard to do, and every chart I was looking up, nothing quite worked the way I wanted. Everything was gimmicks and weird shit. But I had a moment where I thought about it, and a moment of clarity. In a majority of games, a mutation is something that is on top of the character. It's something that isn't necessarily like a main fundamental part of them. And they may be saying, what about Mutant Year Zero, Notepad? Mutant Year Zero treats it differently because it says, hey, you use a random mutation, and that's the entire thing, is that it's a random mutation on top of this character that they have to now deal with. This game treats it a little bit differently, and I realized that, and I didn't quite grasp it until now. But this game is saying, instead of mutation is on top of the character, the mutation is the character. And so I have to remember that going forward. So what my amazing revelation was it's actually, sometimes I just write to myself just to help myself more, and just kind of put it down on paper effectively, just to get the idea of across. And effectively what I've discovered is that a basic character is composed of head, mouth, ears, eyes, nose, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 feet, a torso, a set of internal organs, cardiovascular, respiratory, nervous, and various anomalies. Now, I want this. The initial mutagenic strain was like, oh, here's a mutation. Take this mutation, and that's kind of like your base one that you have to go with. What I thought about was this: the genetic complexity. Effectively, you buy your own mutations. You buy what you want, but what you have to do is that you are effectively, you can buy up to a certain value of mutations. So my example I used is, hey, I want to buy a new arm. That's going to cost me 3 of my genetic complexity. I have up to 10 genetic complexity. But if I want to make them venomous, that's going to double the value. But if I want to make it, but if I want to have 2 additional arms, I'm going to have over 12 genetic complexity. That's bad. So what I need to do is I need to take something that lowers it, such as a negative 20 to my brawling skill, 20% to my sprawling skill, or negative 2 to my body. It's something that reduces my abilities in exchange for that is justified as a, quote, mutation, end quote. So that was my amazing revelation that I had. Splicers are this. Well, the majority of splicers who find themselves released into the lower hives, being around 10 genetic complexity. A starting character. Starting character has a genetic complex. To ascertain value and the amount of mutations they have available to them. Starting character has a genetic complexity of 10, allowing them to quote-unquote purchase their initial set of mutations. Later on, as the characters consume additional genetic material and interweave bloodlines, the genetic complexity will gradually increase. In case you're wondering, I am drinking good old-fashioned apple juice, straight from the bottle? Container? What do you call this? Yeah, bottle, I guess. Because there's like hardly any left, so I can do that, and I'm a single guy who lives in a dinky apartment, so I can do whatever the hell I want. Hell, I could be not wearing I don't even have to be wearing pants right now, and none of you would know. The genetic complexity will gradually increase. So we want to do our initial genetic complexity. Actually, what I can do is I can do that here. Yeah, here was my failed attempt at taking a D500 chart to making it work, so ye go away. So, our basic genetic complexity chart. So, mutation, genetic complexity. So, actually, I should say mutation, limbs, additional limbs, and arm, leg, 3, 4, because again, if you have an arm, that means it probably assumes you have a hand, and what I can do is arm, leg, additional limbs. So if your genetic complexity is that, so if I wanted 2 additional arms, it's going to cost me 8. Weaponized limb times 2 the value. Vestigial limb, have value. So I'm gonna put like up to 4, half value. Effectively, if the vestigial limb is useless, it's literally just something that's kind of flopping around. It doesn't really do anything of value. But if you want an extra arm, maybe that's the only way you can really afford it. Skilled hand, skilled foot, 2, 2. And that gives you a 10% boost in anything there. You can take out multiple times to get multiple boosts to the same attribute. Hello, phone. How are you? I have been drinking water. So let's see, I want to do that. I want to go put that up into Mutino. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. What the fuck is... Always hate when that happens. There we go. Based on length. Vestigial limb. Table properties. 7.5. Mutation. Add an additional plus 10% to a skill for both hands. differently. See differently. Plus 20% to sense checks. Sense checks, when relevant, the character possesses a unique sense of smell that allows them to see differently, allows them to smell differently, or be more sensitive. Plus 20% to relevant skill, to skills when relevant. Actually, to skill checks when relevant. The character possesses a unique jaw that allows them to consume food differently. Sense of hearing that allows them to hear differently. Character possesses multiple amounts of a single sense, allowing them to have different varieties of sight, smell, taste or hearing. Also, since the character has lost all sense of a certain, has lost all feeling, has lost their ability to feel a certain sense, taking a negative 20% penalty. Again, negative 20% penalty. This allows them from rolling with that sense in any manner. So effectively in here, if you really want to, you can actually select things like echolocation here. Like, yeah, I literally hear sounds, but I don't have eyes, but I can hear, but I can hear vibrations really easily. So I have effectively echolocation. Yeah, that would work. So we've got limbs, we've got senses, so internal, so mutation, torso and organs. actually, what I should do is mutation attributes at this point. Increase attribute by 1. Genetic complexity 2. Decrease attribute by 1. -1 genetic complexity. Actually, I should put attributes and skills. Increase skill by 10%. 2 genetic complexity. Decrease skill by 10%. -1. Paste on links. Actually, no. What we want to do is we want to hit Control C, Control V. We don't want heading 1. We want to make that normal and Control C. To delete that row, increase. I'm gonna have to fix this. Fix the tables look later because they look disgusting. I always hate it when I come up with these weird ideas in the middle of the night and I need to just say them because if I don't, I'm gonna go insane. Let's see. The character increases in attribute by +1 by taking on a certain mutation. The character decreases in attribute by -1 by taking on a certain mutation. The character increases a skill by +1 by taking on a certain mutation. I'm going to increase the skill by 10% with a mutation. The character decreases a skill by -10% with a mutation, can be taken multiple times. Let's see. Oh. Go away. Oh, and then I know what I can do next. I can do anomalies. Haha. Mutation anomalies. Let's see. Tail. Weaponized tail. Tail feature. Wing. Wing and light flight. No, not let's see, we got tails, we're gonna need wings and horns. Actually, I can do horns first. Horns are easy. Times 2, effectively. Horn. Weaponize horn. I'm gonna have to make a side note after this. I'm effectively building a character from the ground up just to make sure that everything works out. And then wing feature. Actually, I should say wing arm. Oh wait, oh god. Oh god, I'm so sorry. Oh god. Oh, that's a terrible sound. I knew it was coming. I'm like, oh god, where's the audio input? Oh god, anything. And then I blew my face off in front of everyone on live air, I guess. So thanks everyone for listening to me blow my nose off. Wait a second, that doesn't sound right. I always like seeing who's technically in my chat for some reason. It's just like, wow, who the hell is another Twitch TV viewer? Who are you, and what's your story, person? That's my question. Let's see, T12 wing arm. So that would be, yeah. So 2 horn. We'll make it 2 as well. Weaponized horn, obviously times 2 wing arm. Actually going to be negative. I'll make it a -1 genetic complexity because you're actually the vestigial limb. Why are you there? You don't need to be there. Yeah, wing arm would be -2. Now we go here, normal text. Control C, select everything here. Control, oh, nope. Control V, horn feature. We're gonna need 2 more. We want to insert row below, and Nutino 12, center everything. The character sprouts a tail, allowing for better balance and noticeable methods of mood. The character's tail has been weaponized. And contains a natural weapon. The tail cannot be used for anything else. Tail feature. The character's tail is unique, as it possesses a unique feature on top. I'm actually going to a feature that allows it to perform a special action or give a plus 10% to a skill. Horn. The character possesses a horn going from their forehead or anywhere else the character's horn and can be used as an improvised weapon. I'm going to put in big capital letters, me need combat done later here now. You know, very specific. Horn feature. The character's horn has a unique feature that gives it a special action or skill, or gives a plus 10% to a skill. Wing. The character possesses a single wing. Cost action. What's that? Actually possesses a single wing or /4. What I can do. Half. 1/2. 1/2. 2/4 possesses a single or a set of wings. The character with a bod score of 5 or less is able to fly for a bit, while characters with a bod score of 10 or less can glide safely. Actually, I should say set of wings. If the character possesses a set of wings, wings and a bod of 5 or less, they are able to glide to safety from high places. Wing arm. The character's wings are instead their arms. They don't have hands, but can use their wings. They don't have hands. Allowing. Okay. So I think I've got everything I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sample character. So we're going to make a sample character here. Sample character. Actually, sample characters mutations. Would be a good name. We'll call him Grimson. Grimson is going to be our well, let's make him a black finger. He's going to be a black finger, and he's going to be Grimson, the black finger, and he's going to have concept terrifying abomination. And he's going to have his base of beauty of 6 bod. Actually, be a 6 bod 8. Feral 10, men 14, reflexes, I believe that's going to be 12, yeah. 12. We're going to say before mutations. Next, he's going to have 10 genetic complexity. And what do we want him to be? Terrifying mechanic. So he's going to have... He's not going to have an arm. So we're going to do a loss of limb, arm. But he's going to have a skilled hand. So that's going to be 1. -2. But he's going to have a skilled hand times 2. So that's going to be worth 2. Skilled hand times 2 is for a plus 20% to his mechanic skill with his 1 arm. So, okay, we paid for that there. Let's see. He's going to actually have 2 sets of eyes. So he's going to have unique eyes. 3. Which allows him to... let's see, dark sight. Actually, I'm just going to do dark sight. And he's going to have time. He's also going to have the multiple. So he's going to have 2 sets of eyes. That's going to put him up to 6. So currently we have 4 genetic complexity to play around with. So we want to increase attribute. Increase attribute men by 2. Which is going to be an additional 4 plus 2, which is going to be 4. So technically we'd be normally done here, but we also want to decrease attribute beauty by -2 to get 2 points back. Then we want to increase skill. And we want to increase skill by 10%. Mechanics for a grand total of 2. So to add everything up, so we have 8, 12, 14, yep, 10. Yep, there we go. So after mutations, he's going to have a beauty of 4, bod of 8, feral of 10, mental of 16, and reflex of 12. So he's a fucking hideous monster. He's a hideous abomination of God, but he does have, and he only actually has one arm, but he's still valid. Like, he's still a completely usable character. He has to do everything with one hand. He has two sets of eyes, one that can see in the dark and one that can't. Actually, no, you'd have two sets of eyes that can allow him to see in the dark, yeah. He's a terrifying bastard. And again, since he has two sets of eyes, technically you'd get a plus 40% anytime he's trying to see something in there. So, overall, maybe saying this, being like, wow, that looks like a lot. But we're going to take all of these and put them together. Actually, we don't even really need to do that because we already kind of have things. So let's see. Yeah, so here would be all our mutations. Because you wonder where I got the name from. My first WoW character, well, actually, not my first, but definitely one of my most played was named, I randomized the name Modius Grimson. And it just kind of worked. He was the Forsaken. He was my favorite character ever. He was fun. They played him as a warlock. He was a warlock. I haven't played WoW in years, though. It's a bad game for me, unfortunately. One that I will play endlessly and just not think. Okay, so... Actually, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write a side note. Side note, combining mutations into one. There will, using Grimson as an example, it's easy to see that a starting character is going to have quite a few odd genetics about them, and actually odd mutations about them, which are somewhat difficult to fully bring down to quantify for the second generation. Having the dominant gene of +2 mental isn't really exciting. So merge them into a single terrifying mutation. To use Grimson, he technically has two major mutations. He has a lack of an arm. He has a lack of an arm with a super mechanic hand in the other. So we'll call it the titular black finger. So that'll be the loss of limb, skilled hand times 2. His other mutation is his bulbous, disgusting head. Head with two sets of eyes that glow slightly. In addition to the big brain he has. He's hideous, but the Megamind. But the Megamind mutation, which is going to be unique eyes, increase attribute, decrease attribute, increase skill, is going to be a valuable commodity for the generations to come. Finger. He's a Megamind brain. 2 billion plus IQ. It's not his fault he's a genius. Because remember, 20 is the cap. He has 16 fucking mentally. This man is genius tier. But he's also fucking hideous. I've also known I indirectly used Chum Bucket from the Mad Max game quite a bit, but he's kind of perfect for this game, ironically enough. Outside Frank and Louie, obviously, this game's entire spirit animal. Okay, so then we have our reflexive skills or dominant skills. Sets and skills go to 4 times the value of the attribute. All further skills will be used to 3 times the value of the attribute. So technically, his second generation with beauty of 4, if he doesn't have any skills in anything, by technicality, they might have they might lose the ability to actually speak words very well, because they'll have a grand total of, let's see, 3 times 4. They'd have a 12% in these languages. They would be terrible at diplomacy. They cannot perform or do any public speaking, but hot diggity damn, they're going to be able to do whatever what he ever selects for his mental skills, which would probably be mechanics. Because again, they're the sons of the Black Finger, obviously. They're terrifying little mutant men with terrifying little limbs and shit. And honestly, what he may want to do is he may want to find people who can compensate for his lack of a limb to replace it. Maybe he wants to go for people with exterior limbs, odd limbs. Maybe he wants to intermarry into a bloodline with quite a few odd little quirks that compensate the fact that he is a hideous abomination of God. But that's the point of this game. That's where the game comes in, is that you're trying to make it so that your people, that your various bloodlines, kind of you optimize indirectly, and you always want to optimize, but you also kind of want to also try to find what real happiness is. I know, what an odd concept. So all right. So those would be actually his dominant traits, his dominant mutations, and when we're going there, I'd have to address what the dominant versus recessive values are. And then we have the skills. I think I need to redo the skill system. I know how. I can see it. I know it. And I might get one of my friends to take a look at this just to make sure that it makes sense because it makes sense to me. But making sense to the developer and the writer doesn't mean jack diddly shit. And if anyone ever goes again, no. Okay, basic genome, mutagenic strains. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call it there right now. I had my big think time, and I needed to get that off my chest effectively. But with this done, actually, we're entering an interesting phase because I'm thinking I know how to do the future. So let me just double check. Two mental skills, mechanics, 5 mental or reflex skills. Okay. All right, I just need to double check with some things, and tomorrow, or today technically, we will do combat and try to get combat wrapped up, and then we'll start working on the genetic stuff, not next time, but the time after that. And I think once the genetic stuff is done, the main problem of this game is done, and I don't really have to worry about it as much. It's just getting there. That's the hard part. But once I get there, I think I'll be fine. It's just 1 to 2 to 3. So thank you, whoever decided to watch this incredibly late night stream as I have a revelation about my life. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day.